What is a lie you have told that has gotten so ridiculously out of hand that you've had to keep building on it and is now a part of your life? A couple years ago, I went to a bar in a town I didn't expect to be in very often, and I decided to don a Scottish accent and make up a backstory for a fictitious version of myself. Now, I doubt my accent would have fooled someone actually from Edinburgh. But by the end of the night I had a group of Americans and one bemused Australian chatting with me about the things that make the US a strange place to visit from abroad. Shots were bought, backslaps given, and a good night had. I thought nothing else of it, until I was dating a girl from the next town over, and she took me to her favorite bar. That bar. We walked in. Someone greeted me by my name, and I did the only thing I could do, cheerfully donned my fraudulent accent, explained that my business trip had been indefinitely extended, and spent the next 20 minutes furtively explaining to my date that I wasn't a con man, just an ex-actor with terrible impulse control. Pretty silly, but I think it fits the bill. When I was about 5 I remember being in the bathroom and brushing my teeth. My mum was there and berated me for something. Later, being a sensitive child, I was crying in bed about it. My parents came in all concerned and my mum asked, "Was it because I yelled at you earlier?" Embarrassed at being caught out so easily I said no. I'm sad because I can't swim. Soon after I was taken to swimming lessons. I hated swimming. I am a professor and many times I will tell personal stories in an effort to demonstrate tough concepts. About half of these stories I made up at some point. I don't remember which ones are real and which ones are lies, so I just go with them and don't worry about it. A girl I lived with 2 years ago thought I was stealing her yogurt out of the fridge. I told her it couldn't have been me since I'm allergic to dairy, and now I still can't eat dairy in front of her or anyone from that friend group. She made me a dairy-free cake for my birthday. The guilt is eating me alive. Edit. Yeah, I ate the ducking yogurt and it was delicious. Also, I'm not a guy. When I was a little kid, I told my mom I really liked her tuna casserole. I was just trying to be nice and pay her a compliment since she seemed like she was having a bad day. Pretty much every time I go to visit her she has some tuna casserole waiting for me. I don't actually like tuna casserole that much, but it's such a sweet gesture that I don't have the heart to tell her to stop. This has been going on for over 30 years now. I had a coworker tell me he got married on accident. It was Christmas morning and he bought his girlfriend a ring as a Christmas present. They were both sitting around the tree and when she opened it she started to cry and said, "Well, are you going to ask me?" That's when he realized what he had done. He got down on one knee and asked her to marry him. Moral of the story: don't ever buy a ring for a girl unless you are planning on marrying her. Met my wife on one of those telephone chat dating things in the 90s. Basically, before OkCupid, you would sign up for a voicemail and describe yourself. We connected and went out but were both embarrassed for using it. Fast forward 18 years. We continue to tell everyone we met in the music section at Borders. This guy, pretending to not know what a potato is when he met his girlfriend's parents, is the best ever. I was scared of heights and would get sick by the sight of blood. Needed a job. Lied about all this to become a firefighter. I love my job. Drive an ambulance too and overcame my fears. In an ironic twist of fate, I used to tell people that I had a heart condition, and that's why I took pills daily. It's actually Prozac. Found out about a year and some change ago that I do, in fact, have a heart condition. I lied so hard that I retroactively gave myself a heart condition. This lie broke. It shattered, but it's a great story. My chiropractor, great bloke, not great English, fairly gullible, lived with my drinking buddy at the time, and one night, with my last name being Rhodes, he decided to convince him I was the last of the ruling elites of Rhodesia in exile in Australia since the rise of Zimbabwe. Even set up a blog, Last of the Rhodesians, which got me in so much trouble when a racist took it over. Slipped in Leo DiCaprio's accent from Blood Diamond occasionally. All was going well. I'd go get my back fixed, spin a yarn about a semi-made up land and laugh all the way home. This went on for months. And then my mum invited my chiropractor, let's call him Patel, to a family barbecue. First thing he said to my mum, "So how did you get out of Rhodesia?" The laugh went out so loud and so far, Even Obi-Ducking-1 felt it. I was not the last king of Rhodesia. Just a guy with a terrible sense of humor when drunk. I'm the kind of person that always leaves my shoes tied and just slips them on. I'm dating this girl for a couple months and then one day my shoe gets untied but I'm too lazy to retie it. It really bothers her and she insists on me tying it. I really don't want to bend over and do it for some reason. It was around the time when Liam Neeson got his shoe tied by Olivia Wilde and I was crazy jealous because I really liked Olivia Wilde since watching House. She eventually asks me, don't you know how to tie your shoes? In my head I'm seeing Liam Neeson getting his shoes tied by Olivia Wilde and how badass it looks. So I say no. I never learned how. You can't tell anyone. To this day, when my shoe gets untied in public she will pull me off to the side away from other people and secretly tie my shoe. For some reason it makes her happy and it's the sweetest thing ever. I can't understand how she would even tolerate a grown man who doesn't know how to tie his own shoe. I'll never be Liam Neeson cool. But I found my Olivia Wilde. My brother had a GF with a younger sister my age and they all came to watch me play baseball once. I was pretty smitten with the younger sister and so after the game I started bragging about how I played guitar. My brother laughed in my face and said I had got a guitar but it had been collecting dust for months and I'd never have the patience to learn an instrument anyway. I was so embarrassed by being called out and doubted. I went home, told my mom I wanted to take lessons again. And here I am 20 years later still playing guitar every day. This guy. I once told people I had been bitten by a venomous snake to get out of work for a few days. I had already called in sick a ton of times and just could not face them if I did it again. I am young and in good health. There is just no way even an old frail person is ill as much as I am calling in. So yes, snake bite. They knew I kept venomous and I thought this is a great idea. Turns out they were fascinated and wanted to see so I had to wrap my foot up in a huge bandage and hobble around for weeks. Luckily I was moving to another job I actually didn't hate a few weeks after that. I didn't have to deform my own foot or actually let one of my venomous bite me so that I would not get busted. I was not far off doing so. This has got attention and is quite a unique lie. I'm waiting for one of my old colleagues to pop up here saying new IT. I dislocated my knee dancing like a maniac whilst drunk in January. Ended up on crutches for 3 weeks. Told everyone at work I did it bending down to grab something from the freezer because I didn't want them to think I was a drunken maniac. People at work are still shocked that I dislocated it so easily and keep saying how unlucky I am and bringing the sympathy. Now I just feel like a fraud. When I was a kid and playing on Xbox Live with people from all over the world, I used to put on this Dutch sounding accent when talking to new people. Partly because I didn't like how my normal accent sounded, especially when hearing it back, and also because I was weird. I met some good friends throughout the year or so that I did it. I'm still in touch but nowhere near as much as we used to be. We'll have a Skype call every now and again, and even after 6-7 years, I still put the accent onto them, obviously with us being good friends. I also lied about an awful lot of background things. It's like I created this other person. I never intended for it to go like this. But I could never tell them I've lied about my accent, which stemmed into a bunch of other things. And even now after all these years, I'm the Dutch guy that has only ever spoke English. It goes much deeper but that's basically it. Gents, when you ever meet a girl that for some reason falls for you head over heels, and worships the ground you walk on, be very careful when she asks you whether you love her. I'm now married to her for 4 years and she's so goddamn adorable that I don't have the heart to tell her I'm not sure. Cute you circumflex cute. While me and my so were still dating, maybe 2 weeks or so in, she winked at me when I walked into the pub she worked in. Me being the goof that I am winked back but messed it up on purpose and just sort of shut my eyes tight for a second, making her believe that I couldn't wink. Now it's over 6 years later and she still doesn't think I'm capable of winking. One of my favorite things to do is just stand behind her and wink my ass off, purely for my own amusement. When I was 13 I was playing World of Warcraft and someone asked me my age. 13 was so young so I lied and said I was 14. Cause that meant I was so much more mature. Well I kept playing WoW with the same group of people, and 4 years later they thought I was 18. Someone started asking me how my applications to college were going since I was that age. Being caught in the lie about my age, I played along and asked for advice. I played along with the advice, which resulted in me actually putting in a college application to a university, and I got in as a high school junior. So to keep up this lie about my age, I now had to finish high school quickly so I could actually go to this university that accepted me. Great part is that I was able to do this by overloading my spring semester of senior year high school with online classes. Yay, Florida online high school. I managed to graduate high school a year early and went to university a year early to keep this lie going. So here I am at a university 1,000 miles from my home state. Finished my BS and am now doing a master's. All because 14 sounded way more mature than 13 on a ducking video game. Sorry for formatting. On my cell phone in the lab I am working and for my master's project. Lol. I have to pretend to have a bad memory because when I remember small or insignificant details, people tend to get a little weird about it. When I was a kid, I got the bright idea to put a knotted cherry stem under my tongue, and then show my sister an untied stem and magically tie it in a knot in my mouth in seconds. Fast forward about 20 years, my entire extended family thinks I have this weird ability to tie knots with my tongue. It's a complete lie. At this point I refuse to do it, and get almost defensive when people bring it up or ask to show it again. Pretty sure I got the idea from The Simpsons or Pete and now has stuck with me as a curse. Well, there's a lot about my past I keep secret from 99% of people I know or will ever know, and that is I used to be a prostitute and was hooked on ice for a few years. I've always struggled with depression, and for a while I was in a very low place that led to some terrible decisions in my life. Even my family, except for my immediate family, I had to keep up a lie that I was doing these other respectable jobs and was successful in life because I was too ashamed to admit the truth. And the few genuine friends I had I confided in, and eventually they gave up on me as a lost cause. Now I haven't done that job for a while and I actually do have a respectable job now and have gone back to university to pursue my dreams. Fingers crossed that I am a functioning and productive member of society. Day 13,687 and they have no idea. Told my employer that I was Jewish, not Jewish. Had to research all the holidays. Pick a temple to be a member of, etc. Had to get a new job. The night I met my now wife, I was tripping balls something serious. We were at a friend's party and there was drugs and I was on said drugs. Well, I see this cute girl with an awesome, or what I thought was awesome at the time, tattoo, so I walk up to her and commented on it, just way too over enthusiastic about the whole ordeal. So naturally she falls for me and we've been married for almost 3 years now. The lie is that we don't actually tell anyone, parents and the like, that we met at a party while high as a kite, because that would be very bad coming from rather conservative families. So we tell everyone that we met on the moon during a highly classified mission. It was said mainly as a joke in the beginning, but we've committed to it now, so that's our story of how we met. There's no way anyone can seriously believe it, but no one's questioned it ever. I lied and told a lady friend I had a tattoo of a screw on my D when I was drunk, but she was doubtful. So in an effort to retain honor I had to actually get it tattooed the next day, when I was sober. I never did end up having to show her my tattoo, so it was pretty pointless and I learned my lesson of hubris. But not everything was lost, I guess, because then I came on Reddit several years later and lied about the whole thing again. That I am allergic to bees. I was so scared of them in grade school and junior high that I convinced everybody that I am allergic so they don't judge me when I run from bees. Everyone I work with thinks I watch The Walking Dead. I haven't viewed it since season 2. Now I find myself reading the synopsis of episodes the day after they come out just to perpetuate the lie. Well, I met this really hot woman on a train and yada yada yada. She thinks I have a wooden leg. Well, I told my parents I was graduated from bachelor and now I'm studying to get another degree. I'm so deep in that I don't know what I'm gonna do when they find out that it has been 6 years and I haven't graduated yet. I had never watched Seven Samurai by Akira Kurosawa. I was discussing movies with a friend I met online and lied to them that I have watched it. A friend was like, "Oh, Cool, I haven't watched it though. I thought the matter was laid to rest and moved on to other movies for discussion. Our friendship grew stronger and finally decided to meet Irol. Though I was excited to meet them, however, the lie about the Japanese movie kept pestering me and was scared that they might ask me about the movie I haven't watched. And unlike online chatting, in a face-to-face conversation, I won't be able to take help of the internet. So, I downloaded and watched the entire movie before meeting this person. I don't regret watching the movie, but the trepidations might have been avoided by not lying to them in the first place. And no, the friend didn't ask me about Seven Samurai when we met. That I like women. It was just a small lie to make my new co-workers think that I'm cool, but then it got really out of hand. I actually had sex with a woman in order to keep the cover, and not just once. The time has passed for me to come clean, but I wish I could. I want to duck men and I want men to duck me. Why else would I join an all-male band of warriors to defend this piece of a wall? When I was goofing around at school, everyone used to make fun of me for being foreign, so I lied and said I was actually born here. Kind of snowballed, and then I got this big job and it became kind of an issue. Think I got away with it though. I have a horizontal scar on my stomach from a surgery I had when I was a baby. For some reason in elementary school I would tell everyone that it was from when a bear attacked me. I'm now almost 30 and people I went to elementary school with still recognize me in public as that guy that got attacked by a bear. When I was 10 I learned I could make myself throw up, so I used this to get out of school for like 2 weeks. My parents couldn't figure what was wrong with me because I didn't have a fever or anything. My aunt had the idea that I was allergic to red food dye because her grandson, my second cousin, was. I just kinda rolled with it. And so for years my house never had red Gatorade, strawberry Pop-Tarts, etc. I eventually told my parents I was faking it when I turned 20. They were not amused. Someone at work, who is grungy, a chain smoker, and never washes her hands, made a carrot cake and was asking people to try it. I told them I was allergic to carrots. I love carrots. To this day whenever I order or bring a salad to work I have to have it with no carrots. That I'm a terrible liar. It's actually pretty handy when people believe this about you. I shat in a rock pool. We used to go camping in an idyllic beachside location with huge tides, 10m. When I was 12-13 we went for an explore and swim in the rock pools. I was away from the group and needed to poop, so I did. My parents were of the alternative persuasion and knew a lot of the time. I thought they would be fine with the naturalness of the thing. Wrong. 10 minutes later the group circles back and notice a huge stunned mullet. I was smirking until I realized that the sounds coming from them weren't laughter, but angry shock, led by my father saying, "Who, it's in such a beautiful spot." Totally taken aback, I suggested the short round friend Razzie. Everyone believed me and it has stuck ever since. Even till today, almost 20 years later, the family brings up the time Razzie shat in the rock pool. My sister has told our family that she was abducted by aliens. She says that they come and take her once every few months and perform experiments on her. My parents found her an abduction support group and she has to go to meetings once a month. This has been going on for 7 years now. She told me that she was going to tell them initially it was an April Fool's Day prank, but she let it slide a little too long. Now look what happened.